Hey guys, this is host Adi and welcome to Comic Space, and today's video isn't quite an important one in terms of many things. It is just not one, but we are going to do a full breakdown, and from the title and from the thumbnail you probably have figured it out. We are talking about the X-Men, the homecoming of the mutants in the MCU. So we are actually going to do a full breakdown with everything that we know so far, what Marvel Studios is planning to do with their now in development X-Men reboot, and how the things are going to finish off in one major film and in one major storyline that we are all presuming to be the Avengers versus the X-Men. So yeah, that movie at the title itself tells you a lots of things. So we are actually going to break down the whole thing, and we are going to talk about what can actually be happening and what is just in background noise. So as our latest updates comes about Marvel Studios X-Men reboot, we know that Marvel Studios have got Michael Leslie on the project to write down the project. They are developing the X-Men reboot, which we don't know is that supposed to be the Avengers vs X-Men film, or it is just an introduction film much like the Fantastic Four. Because again, as far as the rumors goes, the X-Men reboot that Marvel Studios is now developing is also looking to be set in a totally different universe and then introduce them into the 616 continuity, which is, I think, that's how the whole thing should work. And as far the production of that reboot goes, they are looking forward to start the production of that X-Men reboot sometime in 2025. So it does mean just right around the corner of Avengers Secret Wars, we will be getting that X-Men reboot pretty soon actually than expected. It does not looks like they are going to move forward with their original plan, what they pretty much did with all of the Avengers film, to have in one film centralized around one X-Men and then build the whole thing up, and then we will have this in much fully fledged X-Men film. So again, I think we are just getting into it right away with the X-Men, with the team. And again, I think the X-Men reboot that Marvel Studios is going to present is going to be different than anything we have seen with the original trilogy or with the prequel reboots that we saw with X-Men First Class. It is going to be very different. So again, let's dive into it, our main topic, and that is the Avengers vs X-Men, because that is one of the rumored and one of the potential storyline that Marvel Studios is for sure looking forward to. Again, as we go down the road, the plans can be changed, the storylines can be changed, the mutant saga is still a way ahead, we still have multiverse stuff to figure it out. Let's also talk about some comic roots of this story. So initially in the comics, the Phoenix Force was headed for Hope Summers, who is obviously the adopted daughter of Cable, and we also got to see that in Deadpool 2 we had that reference to Hope, which also means that Cable is indeed the son of Cyclops and Jean Grey, meaning that the granddaughter of Cyclops and Jean. And as the Phoenix Force was fast approaching, as where X-Men saw it will help the mutant population, where Avengers saw it as in much more as in threat and pushing both of the teams into an all-out war. And that is just in pretty much the gist of the story. There's a lot of incredible stuff happening throughout the story, but we are not gonna get too much into that. And again, it's been an MCU adaptation. Obviously there's going to be major changes and how they're going to make this, both of the Avengers and X-Men come together and just go on all-out war. So as we are in the multiverse saga, and as far as the rumors goes, Monica Rambeau that we saw in the Marvel's post-credit scene, she is trapped in an X-Men inhabited universe, and I think that is the pretty much only team that they have in that universe, is that it is pretty much led by the X-Men. So that is the one universe that is probably gonna be on the collision course with our main continuity, and that is 616. And I think that is how we are going to get a lot more X-Men into the play, into the Avengers 5, into the Avengers Secret Wars, and I think that is the one universe that is going to be very important for us to see X-Men and to us for seeing mutants in the multiverse saga. So as of right now, with multiversal aspect involved and with all of these new timelines and the whole multiverse thing, that's how we are pretty much going to see a lots of these X-Men coming up and lots of these mutants. And I think that's the one way that you can do that storyline and just go right into it, and that is Avengers vs X-Men. And as we are going to head with the collision of this both of these universe, you can have that story for sure, because I am really hoping that we are going to see in some major aftermath of the Secret War. We can be seeing a lots of new heroes coming from a totally different universe, which is again with Fantastic Four and the X-Men reboot, which is quite obvious. But again, the aftermath of the Secret Wars, it is going to be very important, and I think it is going to be very important for Marvel to shape up their mutant saga and to introduce characters like Magneto and Professor X. And again, it would be very complicated if they were introducing Magneto in their original 616 continuity. It will be causing them some troubles with their canon. And again, I think the characters, if they were present in the MCU this whole time, so what does that mean? They probably have to explain, and they have to go through some major changes through their canon and a lots of explanation, because again, it is just not going to be like, hey, this guy just has been here from the beginning. That is not going to work. And I think the multiverse and the aftermath of Secret Wars, that is going to be their playground to introduce all of these characters that are coming from Fox, Fantastic Four and the X-Men, I think, because again, pretty much all of the things that are sorted out. So I think that's the one way you can do that Avengers vs X-Men film. And again, we don't know the X-Men reboot that is now in the development. That is going to be the Avengers vs X-Men film. We don't know that. That could be one of the things that could be building up to. We can be seeing in one way or another, or in total different form of Avengers with a total different team of X-Men going up or in an all-out one way or another. I think it is just a very promising storyline. But again, as we also got to see other aspects as well and how it is going to work in all of these things. And another thing that Marvel Studios can be looking forward to doing it, they can adapt some elements from Avengers vs X-Men from Times Runs Out storyline that Marvel Studios is reportedly adapting towards Secret Wars and for Doctor Strange 3 probably, and elements from Secret Wars, and to have a collision of 616 and the ultimate timeline of 1610. So again, you also have to create this whole scenario where both of the teams' actions are justified in a way. So I think pretty much in Civil War type of situation where obviously you have to pick a side, but again, it is not exactly a war going on. So again, the mutant saga, I think it is pretty much going to be built up on the back of Secret Wars, because again, Secret Wars is just going to be like that big insane multiversal event, and after the dust settles, how we are going to build this up. And especially if you are going right into an X-Men team up film, like right into an X-Men film and not a single centralized character film, and building the teams towards it, because again, it is indeed going to be a slow build towards the major storyline, that whatever that it might end up being that they're planning. I don't think so they're going to do too much with Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and all of those storylines. They're going to leave that out for a little bit before they just kind of went insane with these storylines, with Days of Future Past maybe revised again, with all of these storylines and how much the comics has to offer with. And again, I think that is kind of the thing here, where you have X-Men 97, and again, I think X-Men 97 works so well because they do give all of their characters time, all of the stories the much needed time. They just don't kind of just head into. And I think the storylines like Age of Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, it is very tough to do within 2 hours or 2.5 hour film. Again, I think they do need a lot more time to explore these characters. And again, we are not gonna do origin story, anything like that. We're just gonna get right into it. But again, it is going to be very interesting because they're taking a really different route with X-Men, and they obviously have to go around it to introduce them into 616 continuity. They can't just do it like that they have done with Iron Man, Captain America and even Spider-Man. They can't just do it like that. They have to do a lot more work and a lot more explanation, and to figure this whole thing out to make them just introduce in the main continuity of 616. And as they're going to start building their X-Men team in the main continuity, I think the team is going to be looking very different. They might even let some characters sit out for a while. They might not go with Mystique this time. I think they might not go with Wolverine even for a little bit until they give those characters a little bit time. And again, there are lots of X-Men. There are lots of iteration of X-Men as the time goes. You can do a lots of things with the characters, but again, you also have to pick your characters and the storylines and how you're going to explore them. So again, with all of the things going on and with Marvel Studios being in full gear with the X-Men reboot, it is going to be a lot more fun what they're going to bring. So again, I think it is time for me to see you guys off. Well, that's it for this one, guys, but before you go, you can consider to grab the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel or DC updates. I'm so glad that you guys got the time to hear me out. Thanks for listening to me. This is your host Adi signing off. See you in the next one.